Well, okay then. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I got to watch that. Spent 4 hours watching that, like everybody else. What? Here's my thing. I'm excited because y'all are excited. One of those things. I saw the original one. I saw the first one, Justice League, and it was god awful as far as I'm concerned. But there's reasons for that, and I'm going to talk about it when we get into this right here. And I talk about my review of this. Probably going to go against the grain a little bit here because I've seen some of the preliminary reviews that have been up. I haven't seen anything in full, but just in general, kind of like scrolling by, it seems that everyone seems to love it. Now, I don't know if that's based on they're comparing it to what they got the first time, so they're just really excited, or if it's just that overwhelmingly of a great film. I don't think the latter. I don't think that's the case. We'll get into it, though. Right here on Film Fan, we're going to get into Zack Snyder's 4-hour epic superhero DC thing, Justice League. Film Fan. Hey, welcome to Film Fan, my channel where I discuss film and all things film related, my passion for such thing. If that is also your thing and you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you know when I put up new content and you don't miss it. Appreciate having you. Okay, so back in the day, there was a film called Justice League, and it was a bit of a mess, and there was all sorts of issues with it, and Zack Snyder was the original guy, and then he had to leave. There were some unfortunate circumstances that took him away from the film, and then Joss Whedon was bought in. You all know the story. I'm not telling anyone the whole story. Let's just talk about the movie and my quick summary or my thoughts on what I thought about the movie. First of all, it's kind of like having to sit in just the idea that I'm going to sit there for 4 hours. I was like, man, am I going to do I need a break? Am I going to pause this thing? And I'm not one to pause movies or stop. I kind of like to get into the action and stay there. I don't really like taking breaks and intermissions. So I stayed with it for 4 hours. And this is my thing. Preliminary statement that I throw out every time I do some sort of comic book related, whether it's MCU or DC universe or even something else. I usually put out that thing in the beginning where I tell you I'm not the fanboy comic book guy. I didn't grow up on comic books, so I don't know every tiny in and out. So forgive me if I miss something or something's not as appealing to me, and maybe perhaps that's why I don't find it so likable, right? If that made any sense. I think you know what I'm saying, but just go with me on this. So I'm not impressed. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. I think if we're comparing it in relation, if we're just excited over the idea that this was so much better than the original one that was put out, then yes, I think comparatively speaking, in terms of a more substantial film, things making more sense, the edit making more sense, the a little more in-depth information and sort of the character thing. Yeah, of course it was a better film than the other one. Did it need to be 4 hours? I don't know. This seemed to me like 2 hours plus of build up and putting a team together. Batman putting a team together. It just seemed a lot. And I think what's missing in these films, well, let me start with what I thought was missing first, and that is a real bad guy. I often state that. I often state how a bad guy has got to really be established, and that is the crux of everything to come in a film. That's just really good storytelling and screenwriting as far as I'm concerned. You look at Infinity Wars. Let's just start there. You look at the scene, the opening scene of Infinity Wars when Thanos is there and he's got the Squidward. What I call him Squidward. That's what Tony Stark calls him. He's probably got a real name, but someone chime in and let me know what Squidward's real name is. He's got his minions around him. He's got Thor hemmed up. And then, of course, Loki's like, blah, blah, blah. Well, we got the Hulk. And then Thanos just totally destroys Hulk. So now you're just like, holy shit. He just wiped Hulk out. With nothing. What are they going to do when this guy comes to Earth and wants to really take shit over? And that was the threat. That's what made it so real. In this, the Steppenwolf character, who's not even really the real bad guy, he's the minion for the bad guy. He's like the bad guy before the bad guy. He's the warm-up bad guy. He was somewhat formidable, but I don't think that much. I mean, it was like an effort. It was like a whole battle between the Amazons and, fighting this guy. Not that he was easily bruised, but it just seemed like, okay, well, he wasn't that bad. I didn't believe it. It was like, all right, enough fighting, enough shit going on, they can bring this guy down a couple of times. And sure enough, Superman kicks his ass. So it is what it is. I just don't think they had an established bad guy. That's my first thing. Also, speaking of Infinity Wars and Thanos and all that stuff, like, isn't this whole like the cube thing? We got to get all these cubes and get them together, and that's going to bring the bad guy. He's going to get all his power and do what he wants and bring evil and destruction and darkness to the universe. Isn't that the same Infinity War kind of well, the Infinity Stones thing? Isn't that like kind of like the same thing? Thanos sends his dudes to get the Infinity Stones. Let's get them all together on my hand. Is it the right hand or left hand? Someone let me know. It's one of those hands, right? Like, get the stones together, and that's going to bring Thanos all his power. Again, comic book people, fanboys, don't get mad at me. I don't know. I don't know who stole from who or whose idea was less original. The other one, I don't know. Maybe this was before the Infinity War, before the Infinity Stone thing. I don't know, but it just doesn't seem that original to me. The other thing about this movie that stands out to me right away is that I don't care about the characters. I just don't. Here's the thing, and I mentioned this before on one of my videos. I'm a big Superman and Batman fan. They're probably my two favorite superheroes of all time. Batman, Superman, and Iron Man. But Batman, Superman, I have a hard time choosing. I'm technically Superman to not like that's my dude. But other than that, like, I don't believe, like, I'm not so. Barry Allen, The Flash, could care less about. Cyborg, could care less about. I know in this film they went into the whole story with his dad and all that stuff, and shout out Joe Morton. There's nothing here. If you look at the Marvel movies, and again, this is becoming, I know that I'm making this a Marvel versus DC thing, but it's the only way I can compare them. It's all I can really go on as far as likability of a film and watching a movie and being entertained by a movie. If you watch, and I'm going to stick with Infinity Wars, I'm going to stick with like these Avenger movies where you assemble all these different characters together. You care, like Spider-Man, Peter Parker, you care about Tony Stark, all of these characters, Doctor Strange, Thor, all of them, Banner as Hulk, like every single one of them, the wit, the charm, the personality, the likability, there's a real undercurrent of something here. There's humor to it. And these characters and these DC film, this particular DC film lacks that thing. Yeah, sure, there's a couple of things with Barry Allen's cheesy smile like all the time, and then there's a couple of little quips here and there with Batman, but it doesn't ring true, and it doesn't feel warm. It doesn't have that sense to it, and perhaps that's what they're going for. Again, maybe they're going for super dark and just whatever, dreadful, and we're not gonna laugh ever. So be it. Fine. I just personally feel that sometimes if you look at a Marvel movie, they work for people who are not Marvel comic book fans. Like, you can watch that movie. My wife can watch a Marvel film and not know all the history of all the characters and still be entertained and still find it enjoyable. This, I'm pointing over there. Justice League, I just feel like these are just a bunch of dark characters. Batman really just drives me up a wall because every time I look at Affleck in that suit, I'm just like, he looks terribly uncomfortable. Come on. Even the fanboys have to agree with me on that one. Please tell me I'm not wrong on that one. You're telling me that Batman looks comfortable and agile and able to do anything in that fucking suit? Come on, let's just keep it real. Please, in the comments below, let me know. Keep it real. Let me know you're a fanboy and even you agree that Batman in that ridiculous suit looks terribly uncomfortable. Let's just keep it real. So I can't get past that. What else? There's a couple other things. I don't know. I just feel it was not a bad movie. Let me not do that. Let me not do this thing where I'm not ripping it apart. I don't think it was great. I don't think 4 hours, like 2.5 hours, whatever it was, of build up, putting a team together, that just didn't do anything for me. All right. I think it was way better than obviously the first one for obvious reasons. Don't need to get into that. But I think as as a picture, just watching it and being entertained and actually getting behind the story, behind the characters, I couldn't do it. Not a big Aquaman fan either. Aquaman, Cyborg, Flash, I could totally care less. Even Wonder Woman, as freaking ridiculously gorgeous as that woman is on screen, I'm not a fan of the whole Wonder Woman thing. Again, that's just me. It may just be because I'm not a fan of those particular characters that this doesn't work for me. If you're a huge fan of them, maybe this works. I just, doesn't work for me. So that's my thing on Zack Snyder's Justice League. I wanted to talk about it. I was sort of debating whether or not I should even talk about it because I figure, well, you know, I'm going to get shit because I'm not the fanboy comic book guy, and maybe I'm just overlooking a bunch of stuff, and maybe a lot of stuff doesn't make sense to me because I'm not that guy. And if I knew all the history, then I'd find this to be totally riveting and I'd be so amazed by it. But just not the case. And I decided to do the video anyway and talk about it. Again, in closing, not a bad movie. 4 hours is kind of long to set some stuff up. And then, okay, I didn't even get into the fact that there's going to be, you know, they had the whole epilogue thing and Bruce Wayne's dream or premonition, and that whole thing happening. And then Martian Manhunter, whatever that guy is. Again, I don't know who that history of that guy is, but yeah, that whole thing and the Joker just seemed silly. A lot of it, and I'm sure something else is coming up, and the wannabe Thanos guy, Darkseid, is going to be coming back for the next film. So we'll wait to see how that looks. All right, but that's my take on Zack Snyder's Justice League. All right, look, if you like this video, you agree with what I said, and you don't think it was that great, let me know in the comments. If you love this movie and thought it was absolutely perfect, let me know in the comments. Disagree with me, I could take it. It's all good. Give me some history. Let me know some things. I'm expanding my mind. I don't mind. All right. If you, but hit that like button, the thumbs up. Either way, I truly appreciate it. And again, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, notification bell, and I will see you on the next Film Fan. This is the epilogue to my Zack Snyder's Justice League video review. Let me also add, because I forgot a couple of things. The Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor thing. They're going to continue with that, I guess, right? That's just, I don't know. Nothing against that kid, but I mean, come on, for Lex Luthor? Who's with me on that one? All right, even the fanboys are agreeing with me on that one. I got to believe that all you DC fans and all, it's not a good look. And speaking of Lex Luthor and that whole thing and Superman, best parts of this movie for me were Superman. Anything Superman in this thing, Henry Cavill, I thought was fantastic. You know, Superman doing that thing in the black suit and coming up into the space and doing that whole thing, that's fantastic. And Superman kicking Steppenwolf's ass, I thought that was fantastic. You know, but basically they gather a team up together to beat Steppenwolf and all the evil, right, and do what they did. And it only took one person to do it. It really just took Superman. He didn't need anybody else, right? Isn't that the conclusion, that none of them could do anything, and basically it was Superman who whooped his ass? I mean, sure, yeah, they did the whole thing where they all ganged up on him once they had Superman on the team. They ganged up on him and they did their thing, but they were doing that before and it didn't stop them. So they really needed Superman to do what they did. So that's my take on that. Big Superman fan, so perhaps, you know, again, that's why I'm saying this. Also, another good thing, the closing shot of Bruce Wayne's lakeside house there, I just thought that house was off the chain. That's just right up my alley. I just thought that house was off the chain. I thought that was nice. The whole glass thing in the stone and right there on the lake outside of the city. I thought that was fucking beautiful. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that really quick in my epilogue to my video. All right. There's a couple other things I forgot. Oh, the yacht was nice. I thought Lex Luthor's yacht was pretty freaking badass. That was kick-ass yacht, right? Yeah. The yacht was nice. Bruce Wayne's house was nice. Good stuff. Let's see what happens. All right. There's something else I wanted to talk about regarding this. We'll save it for the next time. Once again, see you on the next Film Fan.